All right. Hello. Hello, everybody. It's good to see y'all once again. I'm gonna give us a few minutes just to have some folks start paying attention if this is what you've been waiting for. Speaking of which, welcome back if you have been with us before. Yeah, welcome to AA&E's Infinity and Beyond, an interactive stream about issues that matter to us, the autistic community. And with our open minds today, we're going to share a lot of our opinions and questions around a specific topic, today's being interpersonal relationships. Now, I know that a lot of us have experiences that maybe we'd like to share by being here. Um, and yeah, that's what tonight's going to be for. We're going to have lots of camaraderie and maybe even some tips and tricks sharing as well. But before we get into that, I just wanted to let everybody know who might be listening that we here at AA&E, we are an organization that provide services to autistic folks, their families, and the folks and professionals that support them. You can click the link in the description of this video if you want to learn more. My name is Olive. You can call me Liv. My pronouns are she, they. Excuse me. And I've worked at AA&E for I think 6 years now. I want to say. I've been diagnosed with spectrum hood for 21 years of my life. I am published on the intersectionality of being queer and autistic. So, for any of you pronoun havers here tonight, I see you, love you, heck yeah, and I'm excited to get things rolling. So let's jump in. Um, Now, this topic of interpersonal relationships is something that I cover with a lot of my closed groups. And when I say closed groups, I mean ones that you can sign up for in advance, and then we will meet for a certain number of weeks, usually 8 at a time. And we cover lots of topics in that time, and like the idea is that we like keep the same community going for that whole time, and we can hopefully like grow to trust each other a bit more in that way. And what, like I was saying, one of the topics that comes up in that sense, or sorry, in that environment, is interpersonal relationships. And when I say that, I mean of all sorts, meaning like romantic, platonic, parental, even work relationships. Um, and like I don't mean to start off the stream in any sort of a negative light, but I just wanted to get a quick feel for like how we feel about just hearing that term interpersonal relationships. So if you wouldn't mind, if you're listening in the chat, um, if you feel that you have struggled with interpersonal relationships at any point in your life, or maybe still do currently, feel free to just either say what's up or say why that is for you in the chat, and you know we can have like sort of like have some solidarity with each other, I suppose. And while y'all are doing that, I'll just share a quick anecdote from when I was a kid. I remember just like I learned that I had spectrum hood um, when I was quite young. I think I was 8 at the time, and I uh, I went around telling everybody that I was on the spectrum, and kids would be like, "Oh, like, well, what does that mean?" And I'd be like, "Oh, well, it means I like think a bit differently," which was true, of course. But like, I just think that's such a hilarious scenario because it's like, oh my god, like, like who would just go around being like, "Hi, yes, like I am on the spectrum. Nice to meet you. Hello." Um, anyway, just little 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 thing to start us off there. Um, okay, so I see a few people in the chat saying that like this is this is a something known to us for sure. Um, Molly, I hope you don't mind me putting you on the spot, but since you so poetically stated, like, have struggled, do struggle, probably will continue to struggle, um could you maybe elaborate a little bit? Like, is there anything in particular that, you know, seems a consistent struggle to you? Um, is there like maybe even a story you want to tell? Like, to your comfort, of course, no obligation. Um, but um, but yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of ground to be covered with this kind of thing for sure. Um, I see a lot of some folks in the chat who are relating as well, which is nice. And if anybody wants to elaborate on, you know, their experiences or tell some stories, that would also be rather welcome. Um, like this is something that I feel applies to us spectrum folks in like most circumstances. And like again, I don't mean to be bleak, but like it can just be a source of frustration where it's like this social climate really just isn't like built for us. Like I'm sure that you guys have felt that to some degree just existing out in the world. Um and It can be really frustrating because you know like having to manually learn all of these ways that you have to go about being social, whether it's with somebody that you love and care about very deeply, or somebody that you've just met. Like it seems like there's always like a hurdle or several to jump over. And that's a lot for sure. um Yeah, Philip, I really love that term that you just used, the social osmosis that neurotypicals take for granted. Like, oh yeah, like in fact, like that. Thank you, because that I feel validated in what I just said while reading what you're typing. That like, yeah, like it's we have to like very deliberately go out of our way to learn these things, and it's hard and it takes a lot of energy, and like personally, I think that kind of sucks, but that is yeah, I like the way that you phrased that. That's very artfully put for sure. Um See, I'm just reading some other comments. Oh my god, Hallie, that is so relatable. I'm also ADHD. But Consistency, that's definitely a thing, cuz like yeah, absolutely. Like even if we learn how to do all the communication and do everything right and such, um it can be tough to maintain sometimes because folks are very you know like I heard the term friendship decay recently, and I don't know how I necessarily feel about that because I personally don't really experience friendship decay to a degree. Like if we're cool and we haven't seen each other in a while, then like we're still just cool. But like I that's not the case for some folks, and maybe I'm even an outlier in that sense. But it's tough to do that maintenance when you don't have the energy to do so. And I think, as we all know, you can't just conjure that energy out of nowhere as much as we might like to be able to. Um, but I'm just catching up on some more comments here. Yeah, Mina, I empathize with that a lot. Um, Requiring more verbal confirmation from others about how they feel about me. Um, and Right, it's not an insecurity thing, which is tough because a lot of people like to label it as such, and it can be tough to get around that stigma of being viewed as needy or insecure, when all it is just needing confirmation because it's just harder for us to interpret things like that. Um, and that's really frustrating to have the stigma put on top of something that is already effort to try and ask for. That's a kind of a compounded frustration right there. Thank you for typing that. um and yeah, Philip, like I empathize with what you're saying too about just not knowing what to say sometimes. um And for me, I definitely know it used to give me pause when I would like, not be able to respond to somebody and then they would stop responding to me. I was like, oh my god, like what could have been, essentially, if what if I had only known better. But like it's you know lately I've been better at thinking to myself like, if there wasn't anything to talk about, then there wasn't anything to talk about, and if they really wanted to pursue me, then they would. And let things happen more naturally than that. In fact, I want to extend that notion to everybody. What has your like social evolution been like over the course of your life? Like, how have you noticed your social needs changing and evolving, or have you stayed the same? And like, basically, you just known since you've been conscious how you operate? I'd be very curious to know how you have viewed yourself over the years. And I'm just going to catch up on some more comments. Yeah, Molly. So first off, that like I want to just say like I had like pretty much the same experience. I think it was second grade for me is when I started realizing like, oh, okay, I'm like a little different. Um, but like yeah, college is when it like really started, which like if you think about it is crazy because like in like your really young formative years, like we are struggling to create these friendships that help folks with their security and their self-esteem, and just also just help us learn like socially and stuff. Like it's hard to like actually continue to learn like we want to when friendships are that much harder for us to get into and maintain. um, but I'm also very glad that by the time college rolled around, you had a friend group that was really good for you. Um, and that's like so special. Like especially when it like finally happens after so many years, and you're like, oh my god, okay, cool. This is what it's like to have like friends who actually really care about me. So I'm very glad that you got that eventually. Um, Yeah, Philip. I'm also not a great mind reader. I actually had to have a talk about exactly that um, with one of my friends recently, um, because I had another friend who like he's very like stoic, doesn't have like much emotion going on, and so I would constantly feel like, "Ooh, am I annoying you? I don't know," and you never tell me anything. So like, ah, and eventually like I had to just go and ask him like, "Hey, like if this is a situation that is annoying you, can you please tell me?" And he then was like, "So that's not happening first off, and also I will tell you if it's happening." And that was very nice to hear. But yeah, mind reading, not good at it. And I assume, I honestly assume that like most people, including allistic folks, are not great at mind reading. Maybe allistic folks are better at like assuming or like seeing patterns or something in that sense. I don't know. That's speculation. I'm gonna move on to other comments. Yeah, no, Molly, that does make sense. Like seeing yourself as the outsider still, because like if you think about it, it's like well, you went through like this whole, like I was saying, like this whole formative part of your life, being like, wow, like I am like clearly I need to either put in some more effort to be included, or like I'm just not meant to be included, so who cares, blah blah blah. And by the time you're actually like making friends at like 18 or 20 when you're in college or working or whatever, that kind of thinking is pretty well cemented already. Like that's like it's that's pretty hard. It's really hard to break those kinds of thoughts, and like that's like a big thing that folks work on in therapy. If you if like you're really struggling with that, I know I still struggle with that, and that's definitely one of the points that I hit in therapy as well. But yeah, it's like it's really not nice. But it's good to acknowledge as well, because like the good news is that hopefully at this part of our life, and like hopefully I'm including everybody when I say this, but like, it is a bit easier to talk to folks now, and like hopefully that means a bit easier to make friends and stuff now. Um so like it's nice to be able to at least say objectively, even if your brain and your emotions don't quite agree yet, um that you can, be social and make friends and like get your needs met if that's something that you want to pursue. Just reading some more comments. Hmm. Oh, that's interesting, Carol. Thank you for sharing that. Um, Saying that you were diagnosed with Asperger's and then also social anxiety disorder. Um, and if you wouldn't mind elaborating, like, how do you feel that they've gotten worse over time? And then if you could, in particularly, tell me how, like, maybe how that's affected, how you go out in the world, that would be I'd be curious to hear that, obviously, to your comfort level. Don't have to disclose anything you don't feel like talking about, but thank you for saying so in the first place. It's all good, William. Like, being here, that's enough. I'm glad that you're here and I'm glad we're talking, so welcome for sure. That's an interesting concept, Hallie. 'Cause you're talking about, basically like adapting to masking as a neurotypical, which can cause, as you put it, damage to autistic folks or even just neurodivergent folks in general. Um, and it's like it's a wonderful thing when, later on you're able to realize, like, oh, okay, like I can be my authentic autistic self, and that will bring me joy and comfort and connection, that I really really value, and will fulfill me in life. But you're right, it can take a long time to undo, um, the damage of having to mask for that long. And even if, the neurotypical folks who taught us this stuff, were well-meaning to begin with, for sure. And on that note, I actually wanted to share a story of something that I experienced last week, where I got to hang out with somebody who I had known only online, and it was delightful because both of us, first off, both of us are trans and on the spectrum, which, like, that's just awesome to link up on. And we just got to like like we got lunch and then we just got to like romp around in the park for a little bit, and like we went on like a swing, and like we just like you know went around just like balancing on things and like hanging off of stuff. And it's like, it's not like those things are any sort of like heinous or whatever, but it's like I just don't see a lot of adults doing that. And like I thought it was awesome that, like, we could give each other the um like the mutual confidence necessary to just go and do something fun that we both were like, "Oh, swings. Yeah, let's go." So that was really really cool. So thank you for bringing that up, because that made me remember that story for sure. Philip, yeah, I see what you mean, with your comment there too. That allistic folks make unkind assumptions about us, where you as you said, where you live, and I think that does apply in lots of different areas, unfortunately. And some folks are not well-meaning, and that's unfortunate, and then some folks are just not well learned, and like that's unfortunate as well. Like, it's like it's really easy for folks that aren't in our community to suggest stuff that isn't necessarily healthy for us. Because if you think about it, spectrum hood in like the public eye is a relatively new thing. Like, when I was getting diagnosed in the early 2000s, that's like around when it was becoming even feasible for it to be accommodated for in public schools, per se. Um, and so my mom had to fight tooth and nail to like get Spectrum Hood put into my IEP so that I would actually get the accommodations that I needed. And like bless her for it, because like I graduated high school, I went on to college, I have a degree and, two papers published, and here I am. What's up? Um, anyway, um, so like early 2000s to now, that's like only 20 years, which like if you think about like the public only knowing about like like a neurotype, or some consider it like a condition, for only 20 years, it's really not a lot of time. And so a lot of folks will have like these very outdated opinions about us and think that they're helping when they suggest things that are actually quite harmful to us. So it always behooves everybody to educate where necessary. So thank you for bringing that up. I also wish we had a million more Tony Atwoods. I love watching him speak. Thank you for elaborating on that, Carol. And yeah, I think that's something that a lot of us can relate to. Wanting to be partnered, um, but either not feeling able to, or not just even knowing where to start with such a thing, or like not even having the energy to go pursue it, even if we necessarily know what to do. Um, and I like the quote that you attached to that. Anxiety won't kill you, but the loneliness will. And like, oh boy, does that ring true for sure. Um, a lot of neurodivergent folks will end up in tough situations because of this exact notion, where on the one hand you have instances like you just described, Carol, where you might feel just incredibly lonely, or you might end up in situations where you're seeking validation and love from something that either can't really give it back to you, or is giving it to you but is like radically unhealthy. For instance, like some folks will turn to like a very radical sect of religion, or even like a cult sometimes, just because like it's like that's what these kinds of things prey on, is like lonely people who need that purpose and validations. Not like all I'm trying to say with that is just like the loneliness, it's not it's not good. So I appreciate you bringing that up for us. And like I hope it's not a platitude to say here, but like I hope that like at least tonight you can feel some sense of community with us. I know I definitely love having you here, so thank you for sharing your story with us. I appreciate it. um, and catching up on more comments. Hmm. Okay, so William, that's a great question. How do we talk to people? Wow, yeah. What a what a great thing. If only I could just like open the book and be like, yes, right here, go to this page and you can do it. Unfortunately, it is not that easy, as we all know. Um, so When trying to connect with folks, the thing that I like to start with is to ask just what do you like to do? Like, and I don't mean in the sense of like, oh, like, just find like a mutual interest with somebody and you'll connect with them. Cause like we all know it's not that easy. Um, but like, so I like to phrase it in the form of what do you like to do? Cause like there's so many different ways to connect with folks and like not all of them are conventional anyway because like like if you thrive being online or in a chat room and like just like typing to people that is like just as valid as like somebody else's face-to-face experience. If you're comfortable with just your voice and not your picture, then like maybe like online gaming would be helpful because like it's like you can just be there chatting away and like not having to worry about like presenting in any way. It's just your voice and you're also like doing something, so if that like keeps you you know engaged and occupied and whatever. Um and honestly, if like, you know, communicating in a traditional way is like hard still, then like parallel play and like things like just activity doing side by side is also totally valid. Where if you like say like maybe you do have an activity that you like to do and you know of somebody or a group else who loves to do that kind of thing, then you can just go do it. Like for instance, I really love going to this pottery painting place in Cambridge because they let you just like have like tea or wine or whatever and you can just paint with everybody there. And like I don't really love to chat a lot doing that. I just like to kind of do my thing. But it's a really nice environment, and I feel like I've like properly socialized when I go do that. So, um, you know, like anyway, all of this to like to say that like when you're trying to connect with somebody, think of like what do you want to do with this person or these people? Like, do you want to chat? Do you want to hang out? Do you want to do an activity? And then that can like help you to like kind of figure out better of like how to approach them because then you're not just being like okay I need to just go talk because like I don't know about you guys but like that doesn't work for me. Like I can't just go talk to somebody. Like I need to be like okay I know what this relationship with this person is going to be like, or at least I know what I want it to be like, so that's how I'm going to approach it at least. And like that seems like calculated in a way, but like who cares, like I think that it's just a nice way to get to the genuine part of what you want to do anyway. Um, so anyway, sorry, that was a long way to say all of that, but just try to keep the question in mind of what do you want to do? What do you like to do? Um, so just think about that for whatever sense. And Philip, yes, it's the Cambridge like where Harvard is. I am forgetting the name of the place right now. I am so sorry. Um, So I will try to jog my memory while we're talking right now, and if I can remember it, I will put it in the comments. Um, and then Anthony, I also saw your comment that um, all of that still sounded hard to do. Um, so if you don't mind me asking, like, where do you find that your difficulty lies? Because I'm sure there's plenty of folks here who have similar thoughts. I'd love to like talk about that kind of stuff from everybody's perspective. So if you feel comfortable, please do let me know. And I'm just going to catch up on some more comments here. William, yeah, it's not mean to make others talk about themselves. Like, yeah, that's very true. Like, um, you know, I feel like I don't know. We don't have to get down that rabbit hole, but I empathize for sure. Oh my goodness, I'm so glad that you found some great Twitch communities too, and that's like such a wonderful place to be. Like, just let's chit chat and have fun, and like whatever's going on the screen. Like, yeah, let's do it. Heck yeah. Oh Molly, I love that you guys will just like sit and play Sims together. That's such a sweet activity. Oh my god, I love that so much. Very very cool. Oh, that's interesting, Philip. You said that your brain doesn't know the difference between face to face versus 1,000 miles away. Can you can you actually elaborate on that? Like what is that feeling like for you? I'm very curious. Oh, best friend. Sorry. Okay. Thanks for elaborating. Hell yeah. And also, Philip, yeah, I live in Boston, very close to Cambridge, actually, and I've actually met like a lot of neurodivergent folks around here, which is cool. And it's really interesting because, like, being trans, I spend a lot of time in queer spaces, in queer spaces as well, and it turns out there's a ton of neurodivergent folks there too. Um, and it's actually in several studies now, one of which I was included in, um, has talked about how um, folks. I'm so sorry, I'm forgetting like which comes first, but I think it's that um, trans people have a higher likelihood of also being neurodivergent. Um, and the reason being that like neurodivergent folks have an easier time, communicating with their sense of self. And therefore, when like gender comes into the equation, we can more easily be like, okay, I don't identify with X gender that I've been assigned at, and blah, blah, blah. And, leads to the queerness being unearthed. So anyway, what was my point in bringing that up? Sorry, I got distracted. ADHD, what's up? How you doing? Um, um, man, you give me one opening to talk about queer stuff, and I just go on about it. Anyway, I'm gonna go back to the comments section here. Oh, okay. So you were saying that Anthony, you were saying that it's just difficult to think of like what you'd like to do with somebody else. Well, so maybe even like back up further, like just what do you want out of social interaction? Because like it does help to know like where your needs lie. Because now we're talking about like what parts of your life do you want fulfilled? So like for example, what I want out of social interaction is the connectedness and the security that comes with that and the fun that comes with spending time together. So, like, if I had to break it down into such simple terms, it would be fun and security. Um, so, you know, I approach um and like security can triage into like love and affection and all that stuff, and then like fun can triage into like activities and music and projects and blah blah blah. And so thinking about all of those things, that's typically how I approach relationships, where like I wonder if I could participate in this with this person. um let's see if I can give an example. Like I'm in a band, and we're about to play a bunch of shows next week and the one after that. And the ways that I approached each of my bandmates to join the group was by like seeing if they were trustworthy and if they were good at their craft, and had drive to create all the tunes and stuff. And that's like how I basically like vetted them to be in this very close part of my life. So that's just an example of how you can think about what you like, essentially what do you want somebody's purpose in your life to be. And like again, that seems very calculated to think about it that way. But it doesn't have to be like, it doesn't have to be so calculated. It can really just be like if I wanted to put it in more colloquial forward slash Gen Z terms, it would be like, is their vibe cool? Are they vibing well with me? And like if so, then then you can kind of like figure out where you want to go from there. And I think at that point you can ask yourself like, what do I want to do with this person? um and also just like think about what you like. Like, I know I said earlier, like, it's, you know, like, finding similar interests is, like, not everything about a social interaction, but, like, it's part of it for sure. Think about your activities, think about, like, what you like to do, like, personally, how you like to spend your energy, how much energy you have to give and all that stuff, and, that can kind of inform you, um, as to how you wanna go about a relationship. Um, so anyway, I've gone on for a while about that. I'm gonna move back to, some more comments. Holistic people love to talk about themselves. Yeah, yeah. I sorry, I had an interaction today that, like, had me agreeing with that. Um, Somebody actually came up to me and asked how I was doing, and then they ended up venting about themselves, and I was just like, "What? You asked me first." Like, anyway, um, oh, Mighty Mouse, that's so sweet. I'm glad that you play chess with your person every night. That's so good. Oh, thank you for the flags, Carol. Appreciate it. No, I appreciate you, William. I are an old, yeah. I've been feeling like that recently too. I mean, I turned 30 last month, which, like, I know is not, like, really that old at all, but, like, you know, when the first digit changes as opposed to the second one, it makes you be like, "Ooh, that's that's something." Oh, that's interesting, Philip. Thank you for explaining that. And that, saying that, like, essentially, like, our brains didn't evolve to communicate at great distances. So when we're having an immediate back and forth conversation, the brain is evolved to interact as if the person is right here with us, which, like, that certainly makes sense for me. I think I can empathize with that. And if you'll allow me to go on a tiny, tiny baby tangent, I promise I'll keep this quick. That to me that means that, like, this, like, workplace culture of, like, being able to email somebody whenever, like, at all times, and, like, message them over, like, Gmail chat whenever, like, you see that they might be available, and, like, getting their attention that way. It's like, it would behoove us to, you know practice giving people their space even over the internet, so that, we're not, like, full of anxiety waiting for messages to come all the time. So thank you for saying that. Appreciate it. Ooh, sensory overload issues in relationships. Thank you for that, Hallie. Um, yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, cool. So, okay, God, I could go on about this for ages. So, um, I am polyamorous, and I am seeing a few folks, and we all have had, like, our different ways of, like, figuring out, like, what amount of touch works for us, and, like, you know I don't wanna risk, like, basically making the rest of the conversation about this. So, like, I'm gonna just say that, like, there are partners out there who are going to be very kind to your sensory needs, and it just takes the conversation of being like, "Hey, like, this is about all I can take," or, "This is the kind of touch that I like, this is the kind of touch I don't like." Um, and if you live together, like, setting up the house in a way that is, in fact, like, very nice for you. Like, for instance, I have, like, big, like, touch sensitivity stuff, with, like, hard versus soft surfaces. Essentially, I like rugs everywhere. Like, the softer the place is, the happier I am. And so, I, like, all of the areas in my place that I have, like, domain over, have rugs down, just because, like, that makes me feel better. Um, but yeah, all to say that, you know, um, if there are folks out there who are going to be very kind to you and love you for all that you are, including your spectrum hood, then having the conversation about what your sensory needs are should just be that, a conversation. It shouldn't have to be like pulling teeth or anything like that. Um, and I hope that you're able to find that because it's really nice to have folks that accommodate for um, everything. Just going back to comments. Oh, thank you, Anthony. Rugs are great. Absolutely. Oh, William, I am so jealous. I wish I could drink caffeine all day. Um, man. So many of my favorite drinks have caffeine in them. Yep. Time to recharge. That's true, Phil. Absolutely. That's such a great idea, Carol. I honestly want to I want to investigate what kind of what kind of betting that is that you're talking about. Weighted blankets are also great. Absolutely. Um, Yeah, that's really great. I'm glad that we're all on the same page with like rest and recharge and stuff. Cuz like especially for like folks like us who have to use so much of our energy just existing, like yeah, the rest time is necessary for sure. Um I have multiple jobs and the one that I have besides working at AA&E right now is working at my local Petco. And I'm just gonna like if you don't mind me being a bit candid and crude here, um, absolutely not sensory friendly in the freaking slightest. Like harsh lighting, fast paced environment. There's stuff demanded of you all the time. Like your needs be damned, you are working retail. And so coming back from a job like that, I often need to like just take a nap, like at the end of a shift like that. Um, and you know, if I don't, I'll be rather cranky. Oh my goodness, you have a cat. That's so nice. Yeah, I also have a cat. She's somewhere else. If I let her in the room right now, she would probably want to hop right up on um this table right now. Which would be very nice, but she would distract me. I see you, Molly. Like, we make sacrifices for our love of Halloween, and you are definitely doing that right there for sure. Um, Also, everybody, just since we've been going on for a little bit, we're coming up to about 45 minutes here. So I'm gonna say that we're gonna go ahead and wrap up in like a minute and a half, maybe. So if there's any thoughts you've been holding on to, please feel free to voice them now, and we can make sure we get to them before we wrap up today. Um, Also, I love Maine Coon cats as well. One of my like old family friends has this absolutely giant and very amazing Maine Coon. He looks so majestic, and I miss him a lot. Um, well, if I can get if I can get her in here for maybe next stream, then I promise I'll let her be up here with all of us, William. Um, oh my God, Mighty Mouse, you're from Denmark? Oh my goodness, thank you for chiming in. What time is it for you right now? Oh my God, I'm looking it up right now. Oh, it's 1:45 in the morning, honey. Well, thank you so much for spending your very early evening with us, or very early morning with us, rather. Um, so yeah, and thank you everybody for spending your time. With us tonight, and participating in this chat. This has been really nice. I don't know about you guys, but I actually felt this very cathartic to talk about today, so thank you for participating with me. I hope you feel the same. And just I'm gonna say a few housekeeping things as well. So let's see. Where's I have a script that I read off of. Um, just for the beginning and end part. All the middle stuff is just us discussing. Um, so just a quick reminder that AANE is a service, or sorry, an organization that provides services to autistic folks, their families, and the professionals that support them. Link in description. Maggie's in the chat, dropping those hot links for everybody. Um, and yeah, I think that's about it. Also, hey, Maggie and or Ryan in the chat, remind me, did we agree that we were going to tell them the thing or no? Okay, well, okay. Well, there's going to be big news coming from AANE soon. I think it's dropping pretty soon, actually. So, just pay attention to our website, or if you're subscribed to our email lists, it will be coming to you shortly. Um, and yeah, it's not going to like affect any of the stuff that we do, but it's going to be big and exciting. And oh, never mind. Maggie just said it in the chat. Yeah, we're rebranding. So tomorrow you're gonna see a new website for us unveiled, and you're gonna hear what like the acronym AANE is staying the same, but you're gonna get to see what it stands for now. um, yeah, go to aane.org tomorrow, I would imagine around like noon or so, and you'll be able to see what we've cooked up. um, Okay, cool. I think that's going to be it for tonight, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. This was really great. Thank you for being vulnerable with us and spending your time here. Thank you for all of the camaraderie and spirit that you showed each other today. Warms my heart to do this every month. So just thank you so much. Yeah, we'll see you next month. See you later.